What's going on, guys? This video is going to be a bunch of stuff that you need to hear if you're in your 20s. We're going to cover everything from mindsets that you need to understand to navigating your 20s as a man, to dealing with women, career, when it comes to building your social life, how can you pick good friends. It's basically going to be a dump of a bunch of stuff that will help you with navigating your 20s. I was originally going to put this inside my school community, but I was like, you know what, screw it. Let's just put it out for everybody. It's going to be a pretty casual video. I've just got a bunch of stuff on my phone that we're going to discuss, just a bunch of different topics. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video, pretty casual, like I said. And so let's just get into it. And honestly, I'll start with the first thing, which is, the reason that I felt like making this video for you, which was that it occurred to me that I feel like I'm coming to the end of an era, and this matters to you as well for a reason that I'm going to explain here. But, I'm 28 years old, and, a lot of the stuff I talk about on this channel is, stay single and boring for 3 years. It's about, locking in, building yourself in your 20s so that you can have an exceptional life later on. Like, I'm not the only person who has said this stuff, but it's things that I have observed as well, and they've come true in my life in a lot of ways. And so these are things I've said, and it occurred to me that recently, I just started getting this sense I'm coming to the end of an era. Not like in the next month or so, but I genuinely think at 30, roughly speaking, I'm going to be done with a certain era of my life, which makes it fitting to make this video discussing your 20s, because it's going to end up that my 20s are probably going to have been devoted to a very specific thing. And then after that, I'm going to move into a different era of my life. Not that I'm going to become a different person, but that really a chapter of my life I think is going to be closed. And I've got a couple things already lined up that I'm aiming for at 30. I'm aiming to, at 30 years old, compete in a professional boxing fight. And it almost just feels like that, along with the trajectory of my career and other goals I have going on, it just feels like it'll be like the closing of a chapter and the start of something new. And what do I mean by that is really I would almost describe it as your bachelor 20s. It's really my 20s have really been devoted to personal excellence. To the best of my ability, I've tried to get better at my mindset. I've tried to improve my career. I've learned a bunch of stuff. I've devoted myself to physical excellence. I've tried to just say, fuck it, we ball, and just do a bunch of cool shit and just, take action, take chances on myself, always taking risks. And I feel like at some point that chapter kind of ends and it's time to move on to the next phase of your life, which for me, I genuinely think by that point, it's not like I'm going to stop pursuing goals. I hope I never stop pursuing goals in my life. But I think my focus will move towards more of I think I'll probably be ready to start considering, a family at that point in my life. I don't know if I'll have a family at 30, but I definitely could see myself looking at a long-term relationship, a marriage kind of thing, which would build a family. I think that's something I would like to do with my life. And so I just see that as perhaps, again, it could change, but I see it as a new chapter coming about. And the reason this matters is because it leads to a point of how you need to view your 20s, is that genuinely it takes 10 years of really putting your shit together. I mean, at this point, I'm 8 years into it. And, I'm making six figures. My career's going pretty well. I'm happy with the trajectory with it overall. I've got the accomplishments. I mean, I've built something of a YouTube channel here. I seem to be able to have a positive impact on a lot of you guys. I'm in great shape. I'm very confident in myself. I've understood a lot about women. I've put a lot of things together in this time. And I think by the time I'm 30, I'll have put even more together. And the point is you should really view your 20s like an era. It's a specific era of your life. And it makes me, when I reflect on it now, think you really need to savor it in a lot of ways. Is you really don't, you don't want to live your whole lives like it's your 20s, right? You don't want to spend the whole time just fucking grinding and chasing material goals the whole time and not having any real substance to yourself, right? But it is a phase that you do have to go through. I really believe that as a man while you're building yourself. And so the first point of this subject is savor the moment. Even if you're 21 years old and your life fucking sucks right now, savor the moment. I promise you, because a lot of these stories you'll look back on and they define you, right? I've told the story so many times about living in a garage when I was in Houston, Texas. I've told the stories about, when I was 21 years old and the girl breaking my heart and my friends turning their back on me and, my career not working out. These things that really fucking suck, they become stories of your life. And so really, try the best you can, even when you're in the shit, to savor the moment. And I've still got a screenshot on my phone from when I was 21 years old, I think. and my bank account balance was -$7. And I screenshotted it, and I was like, someday I'm gonna like show this screenshot next to a screenshot with a lot more fucking money in the bank account, right? Like you want to almost like have that perspective to know like it's going to change, things will be different, right? And savor that moment for what it is, because this is an era of your life. And I think learning how to have a graceful exit to this era of your life is key. And I think to have a graceful exit from your grinding 20s where you're just locked the fuck in and building yourself, you have to have done the work, right? Because if you didn't, then you're like, you didn't really accomplish anything. It's like, the best story for sports stars is like they win the Super Bowl or they win the championship and then they retire, right? And they retired on top. Like that's kind of how you want to try and set this up. But the only way you're going to do it is if you really devote yourself to excellence when you're in your 20s. And if you do this, I just think you're going to be able to peacefully exit this phase of your life feeling like you did what you needed to do with it. You did what you were meant to do with it. And then you're ready for the next chapter. And so that's the first topic, really setting the tone, is understanding like you're in an era of your life if you're in your 20s. This is an era where you need to lock in, build yourself, and when it's done, you move on to the next phase of your life. And so that leads us to kind of like what the next thing I had down here, which is really discussing like how do you win your 20s. And so there's a lot of people out here going to sell you that winning your 20s is getting a bunch of bitches, or they're going to tell you it's getting fucking rich. And like, yeah, I do think getting a lot of money is really important, and you do need to improve yourself with women, but I don't think that's really a comprehensive way to look at this, because I know a lot of people who do well with women. I know a lot of people who do well with money, and they're like kind of soulless on a certain level. Like they don't have much depth to themselves. Like you meet them and they're like wholly unimpressive people. It turns out, like I really thought, like I remember, I mean, I'll save that because I got another story I'm gonna tell on that here in a little bit. So I'll discuss that here in a bit. But basically the question of how do you win your 20s? Well, I came up with 5 things that I feel like if you get done with your 20s and you did these 5 things, then you won. And you've kind of been able to gracefully exit this era of your life, move on to the next chapter, and you're in the best position you could have possibly been in. The first one is you've built a career. Doesn't mean your career is done. Like I said, I really think, in the next chapter of my life, whenever that happens, like I get the gut feeling it's going to happen around 30. Like I'm probably going to be even more focused on business. I'm going to have a lot less other things distracting me, and that's really going to be my main thing. That and my health and my family, I think, is probably going to be the next era of my life. And so I'm probably going to do even better in my career, but truthfully, like you need to get to the end of your 20s and have established something, right? Like you should realistically be making multiple 6 figures by the end of your 20s. If you've been on this journey for, let's say you got on your self-improvement grind at 20, or if you got it on 25 even, like I genuinely think like you should be making multiple 6 figures by the time you hit 30 years old. And I know that's a big goal for a lot of people. That seems unrealistic, but it can be done, absolutely. And so I would tell you do it. It's not easy, but it's the best position you can put yourself in realistically. You've got multi 6 figures a year coming in. So I'm talking like 200 grand a year. Okay. Might seem unrealistic, but I promise you, if you really focus on it, you can get it done. That's the first one, is you've built some sort of career for yourself. You have like a skill, you have a profession, you understand something, whether it's for a company or for yourself, you understand some certain things. You're very good at a certain craft, and like you understand money in a certain sense. You understand how it's made. You understand how to like network. You understand like basically how to create money out of thin air, because that's a skill. Like you have this ability to generate income. You're in an established position. Like you're no longer in a position where you are realistically going to be afraid of not having money. You've put yourself in that position. The next one, if by the end of your 20s you have become physically excellent, you've won. Become physically excellent means you're in fantastic shape. I would tell you it means you're also athletic, right? Like you need to not just be like you don't really want to be just some bulky bodybuilder who can't even fucking walk up a flight of stairs without getting tired, or at least clunky as hell. Like you want to have some sort of athleticism to yourself as well as the physicality. This is what I call being aesthetic and dangerous, right? Like you want to have that physicality in your presence, but physicality in your movement too. You want to be able to move and things. So I think, I recommend most guys in their 20s, basically every guy, get into martial arts. It's the best, it's the most straightforward and practical way to have that dangerous element of the aesthetic and dangerous combination, to keep yourself athletic, to learn a valuable life skill, because it translates to everything, right? It'll teach you how to manage stress way better, teach you how to be like a lot more clear-headed when you're in a tough situation. And also, if you're getting your ass kicked on a regular basis, then like life's just a lot easier because you're just like, oh, like, well, I just got beat up the other night, right? So this isn't that bad. I'm not saying you got to like spar crazy hard all the time or something, but genuinely, if you're getting humbled on a regular basis in martial arts, I think that's really good for your ego because you just don't want to be some cocky fucking 22-year-old. Like there's so many of those people and they're fucking cringe because they don't know shit, right? And so you don't want to be that guy. So become physically excellent. Like I don't think you should just be average. I think you should be physically excellent because you've got this opportunity when you're young, when you have less responsibility, when your energy is at its highest, when your testosterone is great, like your immune system is strong, you bounce back from injuries really easy, you recover fast, like you should be fantastically healthy. Like you should be extraordinarily physically proud, like have a very high physical prowess to yourself, essentially. And if you do this, it will carry through the rest of your life. Like you see Sylvester Stallone in his 70s, and I'm sure he's probably on TRT or something like that. I don't blame him if he's 70 years old, but like he built the body in his 20s. You know what I mean? And that's why he's still in fantastic shape. He just never quit the grind, right? And so you start now, you've built this foundation, it will carry you through the rest of your life, and then you get to be that badass like 70-year-old dude who's still in good shape, who can still fucking wrestle with people, who's still got energy, right? You want to be that guy. It starts with being in your 20s and being physically excellent. The next thing, develop wisdom. This is not something that they talk about enough in men's self-improvement because men's self-improvement is primarily driven by the pursuit of pussy and making 10K per month through an online business. This is basically what the entire men's self-improvement space is at this point. And that's just fucking shallow, right? And nothing wrong with it necessarily, but it's just kind of shallow. You need to develop wisdom. And what I mean by this, it's not that airy-fairy of a thing. It's just genuinely like reflect on your life, right? Like a lot of what I tell you guys on here and the reason that so many of you guys benefit from what I say and the guys in the school community, like when I say shit, it just like has a big impact on them is simply because I've reflected on my life, right? And I've had the humility to realize where I've made some fucking mistakes and learn from those things. And just, you know, if you're taking action in life, you will learn stuff. And so you want to be taking action, reflecting on what you learn from these things and developing some wisdom about how to proceed with your life, right? Because so much of the issues you're going to run into in your life come down to you simply being naive. I figured this out in my 20s, just the number of dumb things I did in my 20s. Again, I'm still in my 20s, but like let's say my early to mid 20s, like a lot of the dumb shit I did, even dumb shit I did last year, it's like just a lack of wisdom, naivete, right? Thinking things were going to be different than the way they are. Like you trust people on the internet when they're selling you something. You know, you trust that the girl genuinely loves you for you. You trust all these different things, and so you're naive and you get crushed for your naivete. And so this isn't to say be bitter or cynical. That's not wisdom, but true wisdom is just you need to be discerning, right? And have some experience. And I genuinely, you know, I have my real estate business, which is obviously my primary source of income. My school community, you know, it pays me something, right? I mean, it pays me a little bit. But genuinely, the big driver for me doing that is really just I have a real passion and I genuinely get fulfillment by passing down wisdom, right? Even with this channel, right? I don't really have a huge monetizing plan for this channel right now. I might in the future, I probably will. But, you know, right now I'm making this video. I don't know how many views it'll get. I'm making this video just because I enjoy passing on things that I've learned that I hope can help you guys out in your lives. And it's extremely fulfilling if you can do that. And it would be a real shame for you to get to 30 years old and have no fucking wisdom, right? Like I get to see guys in the gym who are coming up behind me and I get to pass on things I learned in the gym. I get to pass on just life wisdom and help people, you know, avoid mistakes and things like that. And it's very fulfilling to be able to do that. And if you've developed some wisdom, your life's just going to be way fucking better. And this translates into every area of your life, not just with practical business things or with women, but just your overall demeanor and the way you carry yourself in life. If you have some wisdom, you just kind of know how to navigate life in this way, like the game of life. Like you know how to manage your energy, you know how to manage your state of mind and your attitude and these things. You know how to roll with the punches. Like all of this comes with wisdom. And so like this is another thing, if you develop this, you've won. The next one, let go of your pride, lust, and apathy. These are the big three that if you can let go of them, it's a big deal if you can do this, because this is like, I'd say these are the three big ones that are really fucking most guys up right now. is, lust is an obvious one with porn, with chasing ass all the time and just wasting your time on that, and just thinking that sex is a really big deal. We're going to cover that here in a bit, but sex is just not that big of a deal. And apathy is the one where you might not think about it, but just that apathetic attitude where you're just doom scrolling or watching shitty TV shows or podcasts or just garbage. You're just not filling your brain with good stuff. You're watching sports all the time, politics, whatever. It's coming out of this state of apathy that you're in where you just feel like kind of about things. Like it's hard to get up in the morning, and a lot of people deal with this, and I've been thinking a lot about this, and because I deal with this even to this day, I still deal with some apathy. And apathy is a combination of two factors, I think. I think the first main factor of it is that you haven't set some big enough goals that actually excite you. And so like you're going after like a promotion at a job you don't like. Well, that's not motivating, right? And so you're apathetic. You're like, I don't give a fuck, right? You haven't set a real strong goal for yourself. The other side of apathy is that during your life, you go through so much bullshit and you don't know how to cope with it and like process it, that you put yourself in this spot where you've just got this like internal wall of like resistance to life built up, right? From every girl who rejected you, from every time you tried to do something and failed, from like the basketball team you got cut from, to the high school, the college, let's say, you didn't get into, or just the rejections of life just start weighing on you and you don't know how to process them. And so everybody builds up this wall of apathy towards life where they're just like not interested in participating, when in reality that's silly, because like why would we be, like, as human beings, why would we be created in such a way where we were resistant to participating in life, right? You've got to understand, if that's the case, then something's wrong. If you have a hard time feeling excited about life, then something's actually wrong, right? The reason that doesn't feel wrong, the reason it feels normal to feel apathetic about life is because everybody's apathetic about life, but that doesn't mean it's normal. Like, everybody's addicted to their phones too. That doesn't mean it's normal. You could put yourself in a spot where you're excited to live your life. And so you got to learn to process this apathy. And so the first step to that is like recognizing it. And this goes for lust and pride as well, is like recognizing that you have this emotion, that you have this feeling inside of yourself, and taking a step back from it. I'm a huge believer in mindfulness meditation. Like, I think everybody should be meditating every day. If I should have put that on this list actually of things. If you do this every day, you won in your 20s, right? If you meditate every day, you will be light years ahead of everybody else. Just your ability to cope with life will be so much better. But being able to take a step back from these emotions, recognize them in yourself, and not buying into them, and just being like, okay, I'm just gonna let that go. Like, I'm not interested in participating in that anymore, right? Because it's alluring. That apathetic energy is very alluring. That sense of like, I'm just gonna crash out. I'm just gonna watch TV all day. Like, it's alluring in a certain level. You have to like just be like, I don't want that anymore. I want to actually be passionate about life. I want to be excited about life. And if you do that, it's a big win. And the other one on here was pride. And pride is typically viewed as a positive emotion. So you might be wondering, why should I get rid of my pride? Well, I would define pride really as a false sense of confidence. Pride is really just insecurity masquerading as bravado and confidence. That's really all it is. And most guys in their 20s are just very prideful. I know I'm very prideful. I'm really working. Like, it honestly recently got to the point where it's like, I'm just done with this pride shit. Like, it's stupid. Pride is like, it's very vulnerable, because pride is built on this notion of like, I'm better than other people, I'm the shit, I'm this guy. Like, it's like built on this kind of, basically what happens is you develop pride because you've got a lot of insecurity, and so you work on yourself and you're trying to fix it, and like, rather than kind of confronting the insecurity, you just kind of talk yourself up, and you're like, I'm the shit, I'm good at this stuff, I'm the man, like all this kind of stuff. But it's inherently vulnerable to being punctured. It's like a balloon that can easily be popped, because the moment you meet a guy who's ahead of you, now all of a sudden you're insecure, right? Like, you can go around with a girl and act like you're the shit, right? I'm the fucking man. This bitch loves me. I'm that guy, right? You see all these like alpha guys out here with this kind of attitude, right? They just think they're the shit and they're flexing some girl that they're smashing or something. And like if they met Drake and their girl was around, they would start panicking, right? Because deep down they would feel inferior to Drake, and they would start being worried about losing the girl, because it's pride. Like, they're just like puffing themselves up. It's not real. Whereas like a real sense of self-confidence comes from your ability to actually be okay with other people being better than you at things. To be okay with your own inadequacies and weaknesses is actually real confidence. It's like I've figured this out where it's not that it's like this weird thing where you know how people will say like people will be like I'm good enough as I am, and most of the time when people are saying that, they're saying it out of this very prideful fashion, but the truth is that's actually the case where like if you can accept your own inadequacies genuinely and not try and deny them or be prideful about them and just accept them and be like, listen, I'm a flawed human being just like everybody else. If you can accept that and then just work on improving yourself without trying to judge yourself compared to other people and trying to beat other people and stuff, that's real confidence. And that's when you actually do say, I'm good enough as I am, and you can actually say it and mean it, right? And that's like, you know, like I used to do this. I would see guys who, like, maybe I considered them on my level, right? Maybe the guy's in as good of shape as me. Maybe he's as good looking as me or something. Or maybe I even think he's better looking than me or something like that. And I would see them and I would notice this narrative in my head going of like, fuck this guy. Like, I can take this guy. And I get like real, like, puffed up. And I just realized I was like, this is so dumb, right? Like, this is just silly. Like, why? Like, this guy, it's like this weird thing you just got to break out of your head where you genuinely just become okay with the fact that other people might be better than you at things. It's like, maybe that guy is better than with women than you. Maybe this guy is better at making money than you. Maybe this guy is better at whatever than you. It doesn't matter. And the weird thing is once you accept that, it's like all the confidence comes back. And like you get respect for that, right? Like you could be like the second best basketball player in the world, right? Maybe, and like if you're prideful about that and insecure about the fact that you're not the best basketball player, then everybody's just going to kind of shit talk you. But if you're just cool with the fact that it's like, listen, I'm Scottie Pippen, this is Michael Jordan kind of something, and I'm not saying you've got to be in that position, but let's say you're in that position. If you can accept that reality, nobody judges you for it. And in fact, they think you're the shit even more. Right? And the girl is a lot less likely to leave you if you're good with the fact that you're not perfect, if you don't need to constantly be puffing yourself up, because that's true confidence. It's a false sense of confidence to be prideful. And most guys in their 20s are prideful. They're constantly trying to flex things. They're constantly trying to just like act like they're the man all the time. And it's built on insecurity. And it's very easily punctured. And they're always just putting on this act, right? This just these airs, this false sense of who they are. And it's just not like, it's not fun to live this way because you're in this space where you're just kind of like, just unhappy with yourself deep down. And it's something you really want to get rid of. You want to just learn to just recognize when you're puffing yourself up out of pride and just be like, it's okay if I'm not good enough at this yet. I'll get better, right? Have the humility. Like you can't actually get better at something if you're prideful because pride will not recognize its own weaknesses, right? If you're too insecure with women to admit that you're not actually as good with women as you'd like to be, if you're too insecure with, you know, I don't know, your career or your body to just admit that other people might be better than you at these things and you can learn from them, then you're never going to get better. And also, pride leads you to the space where you're competing with people in games that you don't even care about, right? Like somebody's bigger than you in the gym. And you're just like insecure about that. And so you start trying to get bigger than this guy. And it's like, did you even want to get bigger? Maybe. But it's like, you know, it's like there's always going to be a bigger guy, right? Unless you're fucking Chris Bumstead, there's always going to be a bigger guy. You know what I mean? And so are you going to spend all your time trying to beat people at imaginary games in your head because you feel insecure about where they're at in their lives? It's like focus on building your life, let everyone else live their lives, and just learn to genuinely be okay with yourself, where you're at right now, and just keep working on getting better. And it's like, it took me a while, and again, I hope you figure this out in your 20s, it took me a while to get from this space where, you know, I would hear people say, focus on just getting better, don't compare yourself to other people, and I thought I was doing it. But it took me a while to realize I actually wasn't doing it. I was comparing myself to other people, and now I genuinely think I've gotten to a point where I'm not running a race against anybody else. I'm just running my own race right now. I'm just doing my thing, and other people's success does not threaten me. Another man being maybe considered on my level doesn't threaten me in any way. I'm like, that's cool. You do your thing, I'll do mine. And there is just so much confidence in that, actually. right? And it's like, it's just such an important thing. So learn to let go of your pride, lust, and apathy. And the last part on here, I won't belabor this one that long, but build a fruit salad. This goes back to a video I made called The Fruit Salad Effect. I can't remember what the title of it was, but if you go on the channel, you'll see a video with a thumbnail that says like Fruit Salad Effect on it. Go watch that video if you want to hear more about this topic. But basically, a fruit salad is slang in the military for that like plate they have on their chest that shows all of their awards and like medals and things like that. And essentially, it means you've done some shit. A fruit salad means that you've done some shit with your life, because it's accomplishments, right? This is what it's like a resume that the soldier has on their chest. I got the Purple Heart because I got shot or whatever, right? You've got all these things you went through and you did, and they become like a statement of who you are, right? And as a man, I think it's important to build a fruit salad, meaning you need to go out and having done some shit with your life. So by the time you hit 30, you need to have done some shit. Compete in a fight, be in a bodybuilding show, bench 315, go on a fucking cross-country road trip, or just travel some in general, having even gotten like a master's degree or something like that, right? Like to pursue something and accomplish something, right? That is the fruit salad effect. So if you build a career, become physically excellent, develop wisdom, let go of lust, pride, and apathy, and build a fruit salad, you have won in your 20s. You've got 10 years to just do those things, basically. And if you do them, you've won. Next thing that we're going to discuss, man, this is going to be a long video. You're going to have to like chop this one up and like just watch it in parts probably. Next one was your early 20s suck and you need to accept it. This is really important to understand. Your early 20s are just not going to be fun for you. They're just not, okay? And the quicker you can accept this, the quicker you can get through it. And it's like, you just got to understand that as a guy in your early 20s, it's like you are on level 1 of a video game, right? You don't have any skills. Your body probably still isn't built. You don't have that much confidence. Your ego's really big. You just haven't matured very much yet. Your life's just going to be a mess, and nobody really wants to be your friend either. Like, nobody other than your shithead high school friends wants to be your friend, right? Like, if I meet a 21-year-old guy, most of the time I have no interest in being his friend. And it's not like anything personal. It's just genuinely like we're in different stages of life, right? Like if you're a good enough guy and I see maybe a part of myself in you, then I'll mentor you and I'll like have a friendly relationship with you like that. But it's not like I'm just going to go hang out with a 21-year-old most of the time, because we're just in different phases of life. And you just got to understand that. And the quicker you can accept that and just get through it and stop complaining about it, because the complaining comes from you having this very narrow perspective because you just haven't lived enough. Once you get to the age where I'm at now at 28, I look back on the fact that my early 20s sucked and I'm like, yeah, it is what it is, right? It's just like, all right, like it sucked. Yeah, it is what it is. High school sucked too, truthfully. So like it all sucks for a while until you start getting good at this shit, right? That's where the wisdom and all that comes in. But it all just kind of sucks. And once you have perspective and you've gotten past it, you can pretty easily just let go of the bitterness you felt towards it. Because I was bitter at women in my early 20s about like, this is bullshit, I got to do all this work and they don't. And all that shit you get mad about. And it's just stupid. It's understandable, but it's just dumb on a certain level. And like the more you can just accept this and not be mad about the fact that your early 20s suck and just get it over with, the better you're going to be. And once you get done with it, you will look back on it with a certain level of just acceptance. You'll just be like, yeah, it sucked. I had to do it, right? You had to go through it. It's just like, when you're starting out, like if you want to be like, the vice president of a company, you're not going to get that job right off the bat. You're going to be the guy making $30K per year as an intern. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how the game works, right? So you got to start at the bottom. And you guys who are in your early 20s right now, you're at the bottom. And you just got to work through it. Don't get impatient. Don't get mad. Again, going back to my part where you want to savor the process. Just embrace the process. Enjoy it as much as you can. And just keep working and getting better. And know that things will get better for you if you're just putting in the work every single day. But just if you can accept that your early 20s are going to suck, your life will be a lot better. Next one that I had on here. You have to let go of things before the things causing them go away. This is going to sound kind of woo-woo, but it's just true. I've just found it to be true, so call it fucking what you want. But genuinely, like, desire for money is an example of this. You are in this spot where you feel a bunch of scarcity with money, probably, if you're in your early 20s. I know I did, right? I felt scarcity most of my 20s when it came to money. And I figured out that it wasn't until I let go of the scarcity that I felt towards money that my money problems went away. Like, I had to let go of the feeling before the money problems went away. It doesn't go the other way. And the reason for this is because that feeling of scarcity, it's just like this insatiable energy field, and it warps your perspective on everything. You constantly look around and all you can see is lack. You feel like you never have enough, and it puts you in this really bad state of mind. You're going on a fucking sales call and you've got commission breath. You're talking to a girl and you're desperate because you never talk to women, right? Like, it just puts you in this horrible state. And so you have to let go of the desire for these things before you can actually get them, right? The lack that you feel in your life will not go away until you let go of the feeling of lack. So you have to just find, like, you have to literally be like, fuck it, in the face of being broke, I'm just going to carry myself like I'm abundant. I'm going to notice all the blessings I have in my life. I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to stop going around thinking I need money, I need money, I need money. And I'm just going to do the best I can every single day and let the chips fall where they may. That's one. Frustration towards women. You're going to constantly have reasons to be frustrated towards women until you drop the frustration. Once you stop being frustrated at women, you will find that all the reasons you felt frustrated towards them will mostly go away, right? Like, you will just, and again, it goes back to the fact that you feeling this frustration and resentment towards women is actually creating the problem. You go on a date with a woman and you've got all this red pill shit in your head that makes you think that she's going to talk to 10 other guys and cheat on you, and every little thing you do is being judged as a sign of weakness and all this stuff that they tell you. And so you're resentful and amped up and in this kind of state, and then you just behave in a certain way that pretty much creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where the relationship is super combative and it can't work. You have to drop the frustration. Again, it doesn't mean you go be naive and blue pill about it. You accept reality without the frustration, and you find that most of the reasons to be frustrated with women will just go away. It's weird how it works, but that's how it goes. Anxiety is another one. I had a lot of anxiety towards money, for example, and once I just dropped the anxiety, the money problems went away. And so, like, whatever issue you have in your life, notice the feeling you have associated with it and all the thoughts you're thinking associated with it, and realize that's the problem. And if you fix that, then the problem outside of you will fix itself in due time. That's just how it works. Might seem weird, but that's how it works. The next one, you need to cut off all of your teenage/early 20s connections so you can make new ones. There is no escaping the lonely chapter. So I have found that guys really fucking struggle with this idea of letting their friends go and stopping hanging out with these people that just aren't good for them. I don't know why it's so hard for you guys, truthfully. Maybe it's just because I was homeschooled and so I spent a lot of time alone. It's just pretty easy for me to do. But, like, you need to train yourself to be okay being alone. And you got to understand, this is something I have figured out recently, is that, like, I thought that, like, for example, my hometown sucked because I was like, all the people from high school that I knew, I'm like, fuck these people. I don't want to talk to most of them ever again and all this kind of stuff. And I just have this attitude based on, like, high school bullshit or whatever, right? And I thought everybody sucked because of this. And then it's like, I've obviously, like, I don't talk to those people anymore. And then I go through my lonely chapter and I do all the other shit I've talked about on this channel. And now at this point, it's like I meet people in my town that I actually like. And I'm like, oh, there's actually cool people here. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you don't just let go of all the shitheads, then you can never meet the people that are actually, like, good people for you to meet. You got to understand that, like, your high school or your college, like, basically you're just clumping a bunch of people together that don't necessarily have common values. They don't have common interests. They don't have common upbringings. And so it's just unlikely that you're going to find really quality people in that batch, right? People that you're really going to build lifetime friendships with. I've got one friend that I still keep up with regularly from my high school. And so it's just, that's how it is. And, like, you have to cut these people off, go through the lonely chapter where you're building yourself. And then on the other side, once you've established yourself and you've accomplished some things, you can meet other people who have also accomplished some things who you will actually like. But you have to cut the people off first, and you have to do this. And then by the time you hit your mid to late 20s, you can start making some good friends. And I'm telling you, again, this goes back to your early 20s just suck. Like, you're just going to have to deal with this until you get your fucking shit together, until you have your, like, basics taken care of. Your mind's in a good spot, your body's in a good spot, your bank account's in a decent spot. Once those three things are taken care of, like, the networking and all that starts opening up. But first step, you got to cut these people off. You got to be honest with yourself and be like, this guy who is smoking pot every fucking night, he's not adding anything to my life. And people will be like, oh, he's funny. I'm like, there's plenty of funny fucking people out there. You don't need to keep somebody around just because they're funny. You know what I mean? It's just stupid, right? So you got to cut these people off. Next one. Set big goals because little ones won't inspire you. This goes back to, I briefly mentioned this earlier, but like, if you're in a job you don't like and you're making 40K and they offer you the promotion to 50K, it's like, that's not very exciting. I mean, it might be better, right? It's a little bit more money, but it's like you're still pretty much broke. You're still in a job you don't like. Like, that's not inspiring. You need to set something big. Like, it should scare you almost what you're going for. And that'll give you something to get up and do every day. And that will help you with that apathy that we talked about. Have something big you're chasing. Like, dare to dream for something that you really would actually be happy to have in your life that's exciting to you, because that'll give you the energy to keep moving forward. And so you need to set some big goals. Grant Cardone had a book called The 10X Rule, which discussed this. He said you just need to 10X all your goals, because the goals you have right now are what you think are realistic goals, right? So you're like, oh, I'd like to make $100,000 a year. It's like, I mean, that's cool, I guess, but like, what if you said, I want to make $1 million? Now that's fucking exciting if you actually made $1 million a year, right? And so you want to set these goals for yourself. Like something big, something exciting, right? Rather than the 5 out of 10 girl that maybe you can attract right now. What if you're like, I want to attract an extremely attractive woman who has all of my values, who's a great fit for my life, who's submissive and down to ride with me on this journey, right? Like, go after that. That's way more exciting than just a random chick. You know what I mean? Go after a physique that actually motivates you rather than, oh, I'll just, be in shape, right? Go after physical excellence because that's exciting. Aim for some big goals. Set big goals for yourself. Next thing, sex isn't all that important. So this is important to understand because I just realized like guys are devoting their lives to sex in their 20s and mostly in their entire lives, truthfully, but in their 20s in particular. And it's just like such a waste of time on so many levels. It's not fulfilling. Sex on its own is very similar to porn, genuinely. Like sex without like actually being connected to somebody, it's like you get done with having sex and you feel a little bit of ego validation, but it's a pretty empty feeling. It's not really worth much to you, and it's just a really bad goal. And it causes guys to just devote their lives to this shit, and then they get it and they're like, they built their whole lives around trying to get this, and then they're not happy with what they got because it was a fucking scam. Right? Sex is not that important. It's just not that big of a deal. I don't even think you should go on dates with a girl thinking about sex. Like, I mean, if you have sex with her, you have sex with her, but I think you should genuinely be going and being like, do I actually enjoy being with this person, right? Because that's like an innately fulfilling sense that you have with somebody. Whereas the sex is just not that. It's like whatever, right? It's just, I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's like, again, it's just not that important. And I just think, the amount of energy, money, time I put into like sex is just unbelievable. And it's just a joke, honestly. And I just like, this is so stupid. I wasted so much time on this. This is why I tell you guys stay single and boring for 3 years, because I know that I wasted a lot of time on dating apps and bullshit just trying to get girls. And it's just a stupid goal to chase because it's innately unfulfilling. It's very similar to just getting drunk or getting high. It is just a cheap pleasure that you are pursuing constantly, and society has told you to put it on the pedestal and chase it all the fucking time. And it's just not worth anything, and your ego wants it to validate itself. And it's so dumb, guys. And like, just think about how much energy like guys will put into like getting a bunch of girls, right? Like, this is the big thing everybody wants in the red pill dating kind of spaces. Like, they want a bunch of hoes or a bunch, like, they want to spend place, they want a bunch of options and stuff. And it's like, it's just such a fucking expense of your energy. And for what? For drama with women that you don't even like? It's all just in service of your ego. You're just trying to satisfy your pride. Again, going back to pride, because you puff yourself up. Look at me, I slept with this girl. It's hollow. It's stupid. And then you constantly have to keep reinforcing it, because the moment the next girl rejects you, you're back to feeling like that insecure guy you used to be. It's just stupid. Like, the whole fucking thing, it's a joke. Like, do not make sex the primary goal of your life. It's not worth it. It's genuinely the only difference between porn and sex, genuinely, is that porn has a negative connotation in our society. And so when you watch porn, you feel shame, you feel guilt. Whereas sex has this ego inflation quality to it, where men think that sex makes them a man, and so to have sex gives you this feeling of validation and pride. So instead of feeling shame and guilt at watching porn, you feel pride because you got a girl to sleep with you. But either way, it's completely unfulfilling. It's the same unfulfilling experience. And the moment you can be like, my self-worth is not tied up in sex, the better you're going to be. And for a lot of you guys, you are just going to have to get to the point where you have options with women before you're going to figure this out. And I understand that. But the quicker you can understand that this is just not a really good goal for you to be pursuing, the happier your life's going to be. And the more you can like objectively find what you really want, because you really don't want drama with women. You really don't want sex that bad. You really want to actually spend time with people that you care about, whether they're friends or a romantic partner. Like you want people that you actually enjoy being around, and you have this sense of like you're happier to be with them than to be without them, right? And for a lot of guys, like they have sex with a girl and then they just kick her out, because like I've done that before. It's like you sleep with a girl and then you're like, how quick can I get this chick out of here? Because like I don't want to fucking talk to her, right? And it's like that's just not a very this is not a very pleasant way to live your life. It's very like I think it robs you of something deep. It's not a good way to go about it. So like again, I'm not saying go get married right now or something if you're in your 20s or something like that. And I'm not even saying you have to like look for a girlfriend. If you want to date non-exclusively, that's fine. I just think date non-exclusively with people you actually like, because the sex is not, it's just not really what you think it is. You're chasing a fucking illusion, basically, if you're chasing this shit. It's just not, it's not what you think it is. The next thing, decouple your ego validation from women. So I basically just covered that, but essentially like stop with this notion that getting women somehow makes you a better man. It just doesn't, right? Like if you're a Christian, you know, I don't think Jesus had sex. So the greatest man, God himself incarnate on earth, was a virgin, right? So like having sex does not necessarily make you a better man. Getting bitches does not make you a better man. Again, like if you want that in your life, that's fine, but you should do it from like a more holistic perspective rather than from this ego validation perspective of just sex. I need to have sex with women. I need to validate myself. Look at me with these chicks, right? Like I see this from like Hamza, Jack Hopkins, these kind of creators, and it's just this like super fucking cringe thing where they're always talking, like I'll see them literally, they'll make like Instagram posts or YouTube videos talking about like how to finger a girl, or they'll have a girl's ass in the thumbnail or something, and it's just like, I used to would have been down for that shit. I'd be like, that's so fucking sick. And like back when I was really like, I kind of hadn't realized this was all a fucking scam. Now I look at it and it's just pathetic. Like really, it's just kind of sad. It's pathetic because you can tell what they're doing. They're just trying to puff themselves up by the fact that they get women. It's so very obvious that like it's an insecurity thing deep down. And some people might say I'm coping when I say that, whatever. But like it's an insecurity. They're like, look at me with these chicks, right? Validate me because I have women. I'm great because I have women, right? It's like, what does that even mean? It's just, it's fucking cringe. It's weird. And it's just like, you're just using people, which ends up making you use yourself. It's not a good play. And guys will like, even not with just sex, but like with dating women and just getting a girlfriend, like so many men have their egos tied up in having a girlfriend or having sex and all this stuff. And it's like you rob yourself of your self-respect by doing this, right? You got to understand, like, you don't need a woman to be validated. Again, drop this whole paradigm of needing to be validated by the outside world. It's like if you want it, fine. That's great if you want it, but you don't need it. And it's really important to understand that and like not judge yourself for it, because if you do that, you're just at the mercy of the woman. So don't let your ego be validated by women in any way. They put their fucking pants on the same way you do, one leg at a time. They're just people. This isn't to put them down. It's just to say, like, you have created a false idea in your head where woman equals I'm good enough. Sex equals I'm good enough. And this paradigm that you have in your head is just backwards. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Next thing, don't cash out early, but don't be the 25-year-old guy at the high school party either. What does that mean? So a lot of guys, I'd say the majority of men, they cash out early, meaning they're 24 years old, they get some girlfriend that they're not all that into, they have a 9-to-5 job they don't like, they knock this girl up, they get a fucking mortgage, they load up on debt in their 20s or something, and it's just like that's their life, right? They cashed out early. They never even saw what they were capable of in life, right? And this is why, again, like I really think you should view your 20s as an era where you build yourself. And then the next era, you go into the next thing, right? But don't cash out early. At 25 years old, you shouldn't be looking at, like, I really don't think for the most part you should be looking at houses. You should be looking at, you know, wives. You should be looking at any of these more kind of things that are more established. You don't want to cash out early, because if you get yourself leveled up, the options improve. You have more options in your career. You have more options with women. You have more options in life, more options for friends, more options just for everything. Opportunities start coming at you because you kept putting in the work. Whereas most people, they just get trapped because they cash out early. Do not do that. But at the same time, you don't want to be that guy. You know how if you ever went to a high school party, it would be like this random like 22, 25-year-old guy at a high school party sometimes. You're like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? Right? It's like he never grew the fuck up. He's drinking beer with 17-year-olds. It's fucking weird, maybe illegal. You know what I mean? It's just weird as fuck. You don't want to be that guy either. And what I mean by that is like, I do think, again, going back to the eras concept, you want to do this right so that you get it out of your system, so that you get your 20s out of your system, so that you don't have a midlife crisis, so that you're not 35 years old still remembering the good old days when you were in college getting fucked up, right? I know guys who are in their late 20s, early 30s, who as soon as they get a chance to hang out with their boys, they just get drunk and stoned like they're still in high school. You don't want to be that guy, right? You don't want to be that guy either. So you don't want to be the cash out early guy, but you also don't want to be the guy who is still hanging out at the party way past when he should be there. You know what I mean? Like, there's a time for everything. And the 20s are the time for locking in. And when they're done, you know, the other example of this is like I look at people like Chris Williamson or Mike Thurston, some of these people that you might see on the internet who are in their late 30s. And it's like they're still single. They're still kind of living this kind of like, well, I don't know about Chris Williamson necessarily, but like Mike Thurston's like the single Dubai lifestyle guy. And it's like, it's starting to feel a little old here. Like, are you ever going to grow up? All right. And I don't know Mike Thurston. I mean, he seems like a cool guy. I'm not trying to put my values on him necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like, it just starts getting weird when 37-year-old guys like have nothing else going on in their lives. Like they've built some career on the internet and they just kind of travel around, and it's like there's nothing really to them other than like a fucking supplement company they have or something. You know, it's just like, it's just weird, right? And so you don't want to be that guy either. Like, I just think there's phases to this, and I think proper maturity for a man is like your 20s, you need to be locked the fuck in building something. Your 30s, I think you establish like those more holistic things. You establish like now you're building an empire. You are, you know, getting your family in order. You are like doing more things like that. You are a pillar of a community. I think that's a good goal to have. It's just weird to be 38 years old and single and like talking about dating and shit. It's just weird. And you see these guys, like I see this with Chris Williamson, for example. Like Chris Williamson right now, he's got like the broccoli hair that like 21-year-old guys have. You know, that broccoli head of hair thing? He's got that going on. He's like dressing like a fucking young LA model, right? Like he's got the baggy Gen Z pants on with the cutoff t-shirt. I'm like, dude, you're 37 or 38. I'm like, this is just weird looking, man. Like, you know, I don't know what fucking's going on there. It's just odd. Like, you just see this. It's just like, it's just weird. And it's like it's like they didn't develop something or they never let something go, right? It's like it's time for the next era. It's just odd, right? You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to cash out early, but you also don't want to stay at the party late. Do what needs to be done at the right times. Don't try to rush it, and don't try to put off the change, right? Graceful exit. You want to know when it's time to retire. You don't want to be the guy who was once a legend in the sport who's now getting 6 points a game in a basketball game, and he sucks, and he's a bench warmer. You don't really want to be that guy. You want to go out like Kobe with a 60-point game and then call it a fucking night, right? And then Kobe went on to the next thing, right? He started building a business empire for himself. Like, it's a perfect example of knowing when it's time to leave something and move on to the next chapter. You got to have that ability to know when it's time to do certain things. Next thing that we've got here, establish yourself in your community. This, I'm figuring out, is a big thing that nobody's talking about because everybody who's given advice on the internet is like internet vagabonds, right? They're people who, they're all like internet gurus, right? They didn't really have any friends. They're insecure and they start up some like fucking drop shipping company, and it's just like they don't have a community, right? They just go where they please, and like there's something to that where that's kind of cool. But I think for most of you guys, you would be very happy if you had a community. And I have just started to really establish myself more and more in my area, in my community, knowing people, having friends, having connections, having people I can call, having opportunities opening up to me and things like that. And you just start to figure out, you're like, being a part of a community is way better than being the online entrepreneur who just travels all the time. Seriously. in my opinion. Maybe you're a different personality, but I think for most of you guys, genuinely, if you felt like you were a rock solid member of a community who was valuable, who had his shit together, that people respected, I think you would really like that. And I think that's a very good goal for most of you guys to have, because it's very attainable. It's not really a hard goal to attain. And, I just think about it like, I mean, even for traveling, it's like, for me, it's like if I go on like 3 or 4 vacations a year, like I'm good. Like I don't want to travel constantly. I like having a home base. And I think most of you guys, if you just like build yourself into a community, become a pillar member of a community, you will find that you actually like where you live. You will find that you have a sense of meaning that goes beyond just making money or getting views on a video or something like that. You'll just feel like you're a part of something. You'll feel grounded in something. You know what I mean? It'll add a lot to yourself to feel like you're a part of a community. And it's hard in your early 20s because you're really not a part of a community, because nobody even gives a fuck. Again, it's just harsh, but it's true. Like, you don't have much to offer to the community yet, and so they just don't care that much. But as you age and you become a valuable, established, full-grown man, you just become this rock of a community if you've done your shit, right? And it's very meaningful. It's fun. Like, I like going out and seeing people that I know. I like when I go out and somebody's like, hey, I saw your Instagram stuff. Gives me a sense that like I'm a part of something, right? And so I think that's a real goal to have for yourself, is establishing yourself in a community, in your town, your neighborhood, whatever, your borough of your city, whatever. And here's a few points about that one to discuss. Was the first one was business and networking. Is like, if you establish yourself in a community, it's going to be really hard to go broke. Because like, let's say, like for me with real estate's a perfect example. Real estate is really a relationship business. It's like, if I know 250 people like really well, it's like the odds that I'm going to be broke are super low, right? Because somebody's going to need to buy a house, somebody's going to need to sell a house, other opportunities are going to open up, I'm going to know people that I can do different things with, right? Like, opportunities start opening up in your community, right? But you got to establish this community. And so like, business and networking, this is a really important element of this. And this is the way out of the lonely chapter. It's like, yes, you have to go through the lonely phase to start establishing yourself. You got to figure out your career. You got to figure out your body and your mind to a certain degree. Like, all of that has to be done alone. But once it's done, you kind of like re-emerge out of the lonely chapter as a new person. And it's like, people want to know you now. People want to like talk to you. People like see you as somebody they want to associate with. And you're like, you feel like you're a part of something. And it's just very fulfilling. And so I really recommend it. A couple other points on this. It pays to have good friends. So this goes back to, again, just me saying like, hey, like, if you have a network, it's hard to go broke. Like, it's just everything, right? If you own a landscaping business, if you own I don't know, like you're a fucking, even if you're like a Google SEO guy, you're a videographer, you're a photographer, you just work a corporate job, but you have a bunch of friends who are also in corporate world, and like, doors are opening for you as a result of that, right? Like, it just pays to have good friends. You got to go through the lonely chapter first, but once you establish yourself in a community, man, it just makes your life way fucking better. And that also leads to, I might actually put it right here. The answers you're looking for are in building a great network and making money. Yeah, this leads to a video. I'm probably going to make a full video on this at some point, but I think the best business model for most guys isn't to try and start an online business. The best business model is to start a local business and use social media to make money from it. And the reason for this is because most people in your area don't know how to use social media. Social media is a global game where like 100 people are really fucking good at it, but everybody else sucks at it. And so like, in my area, like, I'm one of the best people at social media. Whereas when I was competing, and even now on YouTube, right, I'm not the best YouTuber, right? I'm not the best at editing. I'm not the best communicator. I'm good at these things, but I'm not the best at these things. Whereas if I just narrow it down to my local area, I can fucking crush, because the competition has been removed. And so this is like, I think the best business model is you start a local service business. You are a painter, a landscaper, a realtor, a whatever, like a computer coder, a videographer, a photographer. Like, you do that, and you use social media as the marketing arm. And this is like, you kill two birds with one stone, because you build a business and you establish yourself in a community by doing this. And so you get friends, you get money, you get some sense of significance for yourself. I think this is by far the best business approach for guys, is to just be creating content online and running a local service business. You can make $10,000 a month quite easily doing this. It's really not that hard. I don't have a course to sell you on it, really. I mean, there is a course inside my school community on it, but I'm not selling you some $5,000 package on this shit. It's just, that's what I would do, genuinely. If you don't know what to do, start a local service business. It's so fucking straightforward. You will make friends doing it. You will feel like you know people. Like, I'm friends with my clients, right? It's like I literally get to go out and help my friends buy and sell houses, and I get to hang out with them and get paid. I'm like, it's a great fucking life. And I meet people, and the way that social media works is if you create the content right, the people who like you from social media are going to be people who are like you. And so basically the people that I'm going to work with, the people that I'm going to meet, found me on social media, which means they have a lot in common with me already. So I basically self-select for a bunch of friends. So I get to meet people, hang out with them. It's just like with the school community. If you like my content, then you resonate with a lot of things that I think. And so when you join my school community and we start talking, we become friends, right? It's the same kind of thing because you just share stuff with these people. And it's the same for your local life. And so I think this is a great strategy. Like, establishing yourself in a community will make you much happier. It will make you much more money. It's a great thing to focus on once you get done with the lonely chapter. Next thing. Everyone is trying to sell you something. Learn to think critically. I talked to the school community guys about this on the last call. Every single person has a fucking agenda on the internet. They're selling you something, right? That is why they are on here. They are selling you something. Very few people are just doing this out of the goodness of their fucking heart. I mean, even me, like I'm a money motivated person. I mean, like I said, the school community is not my primary source of income, but I still get paid off of it, right? And it's, again, my point with that isn't to say like I'm trying to fucking get a bunch of money out of you guys. Clearly I'm not, because I'm not selling something crazy expensive or anything. But my point with that is just like literally everybody on here is monetizing their brand, because that's just the game. That's how it's going to be. I mean, this shit is way too fucking hard to not get paid to do it. You know what I mean? And so everybody's trying to sell you something. And I just know in my early 20s, I just like bought into a lot of shit that makes no sense. And it's not just like I bought a course on making money or something like that. It's like a lot of the ideas that are in your head right now came to you because somebody had an agenda to put it there, right? Like the things you think about women are things that you heard from some YouTuber that told you them about women, and he has a course to sell you, or maybe he has negative experiences with women in the past, and so he wants you to join him in feeling bitter towards women. Right? It's like this thing where it's like crabs in a bucket with that shit. And like one of the guys in my school call, he was like, yeah, it's like all these like dating YouTubers all sound the same. They're all just clones. And it's like, yeah, because like they don't even know what they're talking about. They just heard it from someone else and just recited it. Like, it's, again, like everybody's on the internet just trying to feed you an agenda, and you're just accepting this. Andrew Tate, escape the matrix, right? That's a fucking agenda, right? He's selling you a certain way to think about life that serves his purposes, which is, you buy his program, you listen to him talk, right? He's presenting you a worldview, and most people just accept this shit without thinking about it. They're like, yeah, escape the matrix, the system is corrupt. It's like, the system is really not as corrupt as we think. Yes, there are corrupt elements to the system, but like at the beginning of the 20th century, the average person made $1 a day and got their finger cut off in a fucking factory, or was dying of malaria while building the Panama Canal for $2 a day, right? Like, this is the type of shit that humanity was on less than 200 years ago, like less than 150 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And to go with this attitude of like the system is corrupt and designed to destroy you is stupid, because people are doing better now than they were then, right? It's just this fucking, it's just this, again, it's not solely about that. My point is just everybody online is selling you an agenda, and people just accept this shit. They're like, yeah, the system's corrupt, the matrix, escape it, women suck, this business is the way I need to do it. I need to become an online entrepreneur and get rich. It's like, well, the guy who's telling you to do that has a course telling you how to buy his thing, right? Like, he wants you to buy his thing, so he's persuading you to do it. So you got to learn to think critically about everything you're hearing, including what I say. If you disagree with what I say, think it through, right? I don't expect you to agree with 100% of what I have to say. If you think critically and you disagree, that's fine. It's just like, have some sort of like ability to kind of just notice, just understand everybody's trying to persuade you. And like learn to ask yourself, is this true? Don't be so quick to jump with a tribe, right? People want to join a tribe. Like, they want to agree with Andrew Tate. They want to agree with their favorite political commentator. They want to believe that the system is corrupt or the politicians are all evil. And like, I don't love politicians. This isn't defending them, but like, you want to believe these things, and so you accept this shit without really thinking it through. And again, if I were to like turn this into a marketing spiel for you, I could tell you, like, literally, if you're making a product, the first thing you do is you figure out who you're going to sell the product to, and then you ask yourself, what are the pains that this person that I'm selling my product to is experiencing in their life, and how can I position my product as the solution to their pains? So like, all of this is tactical, and that's why everybody who sells you the 10K per month course, right? They know that you want to make $10,000 a month, right? It sounds like a good number, $10,000 a month. I can make $10,000 a month and I can do it online and I don't have to work as much. It's like, that's all the shit you want to hear. That's why they're telling you that, because nobody wants to work a shit ton. So they tell you, it's like, yeah, you can work this job. You won't have to work that much. You can make the money you want to make. And here's my special solution to do it. And all the other solutions suck. And this is how they frame it. And they do this with dating too, right? They know that you're bitter towards women. They know that you're getting rejected towards women. So they speak to these pains, right? They just keep doing this. And so notice how everybody is speaking to your pains and then telling you that their solution is the solution to your problem. It's all calculated, right? Really, you should just turn off most content, because it's all fucking calculated to get you to think something negative so that they can get your money or so that they can get your attention. It's one of those two things, right? That's what the game is here. And so you got to understand, everybody's got an agenda, and you need to start thinking critically about it. And just, if you notice that anybody's content is getting you to think that they have the only solution, or their content is getting you to think that some other group of people sucks or that the world sucks, if they're telling you any of that kind of shit, just put your fucking guard up, because it's probably not fully true. There might be a kernel of truth to it, but it's really not fully true. So just be on guard for that. Next thing, don't be impressed by people's facades. This goes along with this. Everybody's putting up a facade. Everybody on the internet is apparently getting laid 24/7. Everybody on the internet is rich. Everybody on the internet is just this, that, and the third. It's like, they're all human. They all have insecurities. Just don't fall for the facades. That's a pretty straightforward one, but I promise you Andrew Tate has weaknesses. I promise you that everybody has weaknesses. I just saw in the news, Ty Lopez is getting sued by the SEC for $112 million because of a fucking Ponzi scheme he was running, right? I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is true, again, there you go, another fucking person. Like, it doesn't mean everybody's bad, but it just means you just need to, like, don't fall for people's facades. You know, like, I had this experience where I thought that, so when I went to Houston, I was going to this gym. It was called Alpha Land Gym. And that was why I went to Houston, Texas when I lived there. I was like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people there that I resonate with. That was what I thought. I was like, there's going to be content creators there. There's going to be fitness people there. It'll be my kind of people. And so I go down there and I meet these people. And I found out it was just like I wasn't impressed by these people at all. I was like, I mean, like, they're not bad people necessarily. Like, some of them maybe are, but like, the point is, like, I was just like, oh, like, most of these people, like, they are kind of shallow. They basically just work out and drink a bunch of fucking sucralose energy drinks all day, and that's kind of their life. I'm like, these people are a fucking facade. It's a scam, right? They're not who you think they are, and most people are that way. Don't fall for people's facades, because everybody's going to present themselves in a certain way. That leads to the next one. Well, actually, no, we're going to cover this first, then we're going to lead into that. Don't trade your integrity for anything. Integrity is the like linchpin of your life. Like, you have to, like, you know, I had this guy join my school community for a brief time, and he left, and I'm glad he left, because he said this thing on one of the calls. He was talking about how he was like lying to people to get money, and I was just like, I was like taken aback that he just said this out loud like that. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna lie about it, and I was like, dude, that's like so fucked up, right? Like, I just fully don't support lying. I just, like, it seems like a pretty straightforward thing, but I'm like, that's just wild to just be lying out here. Like, it's just wild to me. So I don't believe in lying, obviously, but my point with that is, like, you can't get your integrity back. It's like that guy who said that. Like, do you think I'm ever going to trust him? Do you think I would trust him with money? Do you think I would trust him in any kind of situation where he could, like, stab me in the back? No, right? Integrity is like, Warren Buffett talked about this. He said it takes like 20 years to build a reputation, and it takes 1 second to destroy it. And it's like you really need to be the kind of person that people meet you and they know that you're going to get shit done, that you're going to be upfront and honest with them, that you're going to be the kind of person that you're going to make sure that you look out for them, right? If it comes time to split the bill, you'll round the money in your side where you spend more than them, right? You will always default to taking care of the other person. You're honest. You're that kind of person where you just build this really strong reputation for yourself of like people can trust that you're not going to do them dirty. They can trust that if you say you're going to do something, it's going to get done. Do not sacrifice your integrity for anything. Seriously, it's just not worth doing. It will always bite you in the ass. Like you just see these content creators who just do cringe shit for views, and it's just like nobody really respects these people. They're dancing fucking monkeys, right? You know, doing things like, I don't know, you're like maybe some woman who's trying to cheat on her husband and like you sleep with her and like maybe you think you're getting away with it but like on some certain level deep down you feel kind of shitty about it, you know? And it's like that's because like you have a conscience, right? So don't sacrifice your integrity for anything. It's a really big deal. So the next thing, which goes back to what I was going to talk about here, is how to evaluate people for friendship. So like I said, I went to Houston, I met these fitness people who were content creators, and I thought in my head, I was like, oh, these are people that are my people, right? I resonate with them. And I realized like I didn't resonate with most of them. And, you know, I've met people who are in business and I find them to be unimpressive people. And it was just this thing, I was like, oh, like you cannot find friends based on topics. You can find people that you can talk about a subject with that way. Like you can talk fitness with fitness people. You can talk money with money people. But like real friends, you can't do it based on a topic. Like I know a guy who makes like $50,000 a month as an e-com guy. And yet he jerks off every day and he doesn't seem to have a problem with that. And I'm like, I just don't fuck with this guy. I'm like, this guy's a fucking loser, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just lame as it's just like, what the fuck is that? It's just gross. And so like you'd think, oh, he makes money. He's successful. He's the kind of guy you want to be friends with. Not really. Not in my opinion, at least. And so it just made me realize like you gotta like friendships and who you communicate with, like who you become friends with, it's not about topics. It's not about these facades again that people put up. It's about something different. And like the things I've kind of come up with this are really two things. It's like, do you genuinely feel happier to see them? Like when you see this person, are you actually happy to see them? Are you actually excited to talk to this person? And the other one is, do they have integrity? Going back to that. It's like those are the two things I try to judge people based on. Do they have a moral compass, or do they have integrity? And do I actually like seeing them, right? Because at this point, you know, I used to think it was like, oh, if they're not an entrepreneur, I don't want to be their friend. And now it's not like I've got a bunch of friends who aren't entrepreneurs, and I like these people better than a lot of entrepreneurs. And it's just because they're good people. Like I feel like I can trust these people. I like talking to them, right? They're fun to be around, right? And so it's just taught me that lesson of like how to develop the right friendships. Right? You obviously like, you know, most people that have integrity and that you genuinely feel happy to be around, most of those people are going to have their shit together to some degree, right? They're going to be valuable contributing members to society, right? So like I had a third one in here, which is basically if they're a complete crash out, you should probably avoid them. But again, if you're a complete crash out, you probably don't have integrity, or you're probably not the kind of person you would actually enjoy being around, right? Because there's a reason they're in that position, you know? So like I would throw that one in there, but genuinely, if you're happy to see the person and they have integrity, then they're a decent person to keep in your life. Those are like the judges. And then like on top, like the close friends you have are obviously gonna have things in common with you, you know? It's like they're gonna share the business interest, they're gonna share the fitness interest or whatever you're interested in. But those are the two big ones. Like, do they have integrity? Do you feel happy to be around them? So the last thing that I'm basically gonna leave you with here, guys, is like a mindset that I think you need to have for your 20s. This is the mindset that I just think like even if you're at 21, if you're at 28, it doesn't matter. If you have this attitude, your life's going to go way better. You're going to be way happier. You're going to get progress way faster. And the mindset is this: stop trying to control everything. Set your sights on the best possible outcome and do your best every day. That is really it. Like, stop trying to control outcomes because you can't control outcomes. Stop worrying about this shit. Leave that up to the universe or God or whoever. And just be like, all I'm going to do is do my best every single day to try and move towards my goals. And I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. and I'm going to trust that life is on my side. And I think that is the mantra that you need to have for your 20s, because it's a fucking slog, and you're moving forward. And the quicker you can get that attitude, the more peaceful you're going to be about it, the happier you're going to be about it. You're going to enjoy the process, and goals are going to be accomplished much quicker. You're going to get out of the lonely 20s faster. You're going to build your network faster. You're going to have success faster once you adopt that mindset. So that's it, guys. Hope this video is helpful for you guys. I hope it's the kind of thing that you go back to over and over again. It's the kind of thing that I want to be like a soundtrack for your 20s, where you can keep playing it, keep reminding yourself of these kinds of things. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, guys. And if you want to join a community of men who are thinking just like you, who want to improve themselves and become great in their 20s, click the link in the description below to learn about the Life Max group. Thanks again. I'll talk to you later.